Hugh, thanks. Yeah, well, we were talking about should we go back to 2015 or 2012. Well, what about going back to 1929? Join us in our virtual central lobby in the Houses of Parliament, and let's look at a bit of the history of Labour in Scotland, and that party's very close links with the Scottish nation. So we're going back to, what, about 20 years after the birth of Labour here and Ramsay MacDonald. This is the vote in a general election in Scotland for Labour. 42%. You can see how well and how quickly Labour connected with Scotland. So let me just take you through the history here. Clement Attlee, just after the war, 48%. Is he going to get to half the votes in Scotland for Labour? Let's have a look. Well, by the time of Wilson, they do. They're on 50% in 1966. So this is a really impressive, powerful progression for Labour, really connecting with the people of Scotland. It then takes a turn for the worse. Go through the 70s, go to the 80s, and they start to ail a bit. Modern politics doesn't quite help them with their connection, as discussed. Michael Foot is the Labour leader. He was a struggling opposition leader anyway, and they're down. But it's still, given the figures we've seen today, pretty good. 35% for Labour in Scotland in the early 80s. But it's not over by any means between the party and the nation, because when Tony Blair comes in and wins his landslide in 1997, they're back on not quite half the vote, but a very impressive 46%. Let's just follow it through here. So you're seeing then 97 and the years that follow, Labour posting these very high votes, lots of MPs coming to Westminster with the red rosette on, and then Gordon Brown comes in. Now, this is probably actually 42%. He was outperforming his party in Scotland, maybe partly because of his constituency there, Kirkcaldy, his own Scottish roots and so on. He may have been disguising some of the disaffection that we're now seeing coming through. But still, 42% in 2010 for Scotland at the general election for Labour. And then by 2015, they've been not quite halved, but slashed to 24%. And so you ask the question, what's happened in between the two of those? And the answer, of course, is the Scottish referendum on independence, which, although the SNP lost, were on the losing side of that. Somehow the bounce that came out of it for those parties, or the SNP who wanted independence, was quite impressive, and it took the wind out of Labour, and you see in 2015 they're down to 24%. So here we are, 2016, and Labour at 23%. The others are general elections, by the way. This figure for Jeremy Corbyn, 23%, is the constituency vote in the Scottish Parliament elections that we've seen. But I put it in context for you there, and there we are, 80 years of history, Hugh.